Hi everyone, Nikki Rose here. I know I'm back in the chair. I don't have makeup on, and you probably can see I need to shave. You can probably see a little bit, but it's mostly probably looks like shadow. But things have been a little rough. Not actually rough. It's just some things have changed, and there was a couple issues. So I didn't get around to dolling up for the video, and also I'm almost like 2 days late because it's like almost 10 p.m. on Tuesday instead of like I was, because I was doing pretty well. I was kind of getting videos recorded on Monday, but I'm behind. Main reason is that my day job changed my schedule up, so it changed my workflow because I used to have the weekends off and Monday, and that would give me time to edit, upload, and get everything working before Monday came around, and then I could record this video on Mondays and then work on with other stuff. But because they changed the schedule, it's kind of messing me up. And also, I took off an extra day because of Mother's Day and blah blah blah. So I've basically been trying to recover from all that kind of stuff. But yeah, it's just I've been running behind, and it's rearranging my schedule, so I have to rework everything that I'm doing. So forgive me for not looking my best. I know some people will say that you look fine, but to me it's not. Really, to me it's not the best. Everyone has their own preference, and everyone wants to look their best. Every person, out there, everyone has the way they want to look, and that's how they think they look the best. And if it's not, how they like it, it's wrong to them, and that's kind of a weird thing. It's kind of goes into what I'm going to do for this video, and sorry I'm playing with this. I got this just barely from work, and I don't know why. I'm a fidgety person, so I do stuff like that, and that's probably not the best on the recording. So it probably looks like just something blurring around because the camera doesn't pick up that high a frame rate. But yeah, talking about it kind of goes into what I was thinking for this video. So basically, this video is going to be me talking about basically gender, which I know is going to be a really hot topic for a lot of hot topic. I don't know why, if I say hot topic, I think of the store, but it's just going to be something that may trigger someone, which is another thing I hate, but we'll go into that later. But it's just going to be controversial about what I'm saying. Because, okay, before anyone starts going crazy, shitposting, blocking my videos, and all that kind of stuff, this is what I feel that gender is, and what I, have known, what I basically perceived about how things work out. And if you don't see it that way, that's your opinion. I have my opinion, you have your opinion. It's just how people see the world. Everyone has their own different view on something else. So, that's, basically, to keep that in mind. So, I know this is going to cause, damage to my channel if I had a lot of people watching, but these videos do the best out of my channel, so this may kind of blow up and cause some issue and controversy and, backlash and blah, blah, blah. Getting to it, gender. To me, scientifically, and I say this scientifically just because to be, basically breaking it down to the single definition of it, a gender. Technically, by the scientific standards, there are two genders, male and female. And I know people out there, but you're transgender, then you're saying that there's only two genders, male and female, then you're not fitting into that. Before you get ahead of me, just listen to me what I'm saying, and let's, go deeper into that. So scientifically, there's only two genders, because there's the, XY chromosome and XX chromosome. And I know I've seen a few things where you can actually have, XXY chromosomes and XXX chromosomes and XYY chromosomes. That is something way deeper into genetics I have no idea about. But basic scientific show that we have two chromosomes, and each one determines, your gender from your father and your mother. But also, I've also seen some stories about that you can be born with a YX chromosome, be born female, and that's where being transgender can come into, because you have the male chromosomes, but you have the female anatomy That's where it can come issues with you thinking that you're, a male that was born as a female. See, that's where it can kind of tie in. And vice versa, you can be born a male but have the XX chromosome. It's a lot of stuff to deal with, and if you have more questions or need to know more about that, go look into genetics and that kind of stuff. Because the reason I know about this is because there was this post on Reddit I saw that was talking about, showing that you can actually have all of these chromosomes and actually be a different gender or something like that. I mean, also there's a whole different part where you can be a hermaphrodite, where you have both genitalia, but again, that's deeper into genetics that I really don't know myself. Okay, getting that out of the way, how I see it, there are two genders. The reason I think that, because it's basically how science works. You have one genetic, makeup or another. But gender does not, that's a scientific thing. But gender is not, one or the other. It's a scale of, being male or female. It's not like you're one or the other. It's not like that. The whole reason I think this is probably because more I developed, more things changed. But I first heard this in like 7th or 8th grade when I was going to school. And it was weird because the teacher I was with was like, the teacher that was talking about this in the class was like a history/health teacher, so he may know what he was talking about, may not. But how he explained it is, it's a scale. Basically, on one end you have the male chromosomes and male genitalia and all that kind of stuff where, there's all this masculine stuff, but also, sidebar here, what you do, what your hobbies are, and what you enjoy does not mean your gender. That means you like certain hobbies. Some things have been perceived as male or female things because of that, but it's just, media and social stuff that basically makes you think that. But, like I was going back to what I'm saying, it's a scale where you have male on one side and female on the other. But some people may be on full-on male, and some may be full-on female. But not everyone is. There is a gradient where you can be halfway in between, a quarter in between, a quarter between the other way. It's not like everyone's just one thing and that's it. It's a scale that you work through back and forth, and it's not like it stays the same all the time. Because, some people may think their whole life that they're one gender, and then at some point, then things begin to change, and then they're like, no, actually, I may be the opposite gender. Or, through your whole entire life, you may be born as a certain gender, like a male, but always think you're supposed to be born as a female, and then you work towards that, and you're more leaning toward the female scale, even though you're born male, or vice versa. It's a big thing where, basically, no one is just like straight this or straight that. There's multiple upon multiple things. This is kind of just, paraphrasing what he was talking about, but it's pretty much what he was saying is a huge scale of from one point to another where you can be this or that or in between. And I think the whole reason, shut up phone, I should have put that on vibrate, but I've been testing stuff. But basically, I think the reason this whole conversation came up in the class is I think there was something he read or saw that a child that was born a hermaphrodite had both female and male genitalia. Don't know why I can't speak tonight. And the parents chose for that child to be a certain gender, so they removed the other gender's, genetic parts, which I don't know how it really happened. This has been years since I heard this, but it just came up because I've just been thinking about a lot of stuff. But they took out, the one gender, genitalia, and then the child grew up to a certain point and started to feel like they were in the wrong body, which would make sense because if you had enough, testosterone and estrogen in your body where you actually kept one part and grew another. Which, again, sidebar, hold on. If you don't know a lot about, biologic and, genetics and that kind of stuff, everyone actually is born, starts out as a female. And if you don't believe that, go look through a bunch of textbooks and all that kind of stuff, because you can see, I mean, I'm pretty sure most guys don't know this, but most girls and women should know, because basically they teach you this in sex ed, and when you start dealing with your periods and pregnancies and all that kind of stuff. Basically, after the sperm, fertilizes the egg, the baby begins to form, and it forms as a female because it's in the mother's body, so it's getting more and more estrogen, and it grows to be more of a female infant. But there is a point in time during the pregnancy where there may be a change in hormone balance, or maybe it could even be from what the mother's eating, because everyone has testosterone and estrogen in their body. It just matters on how your body takes it in and how it changes, because being transgender, you can actually mess things up a bit, where if you try to take too much estrogen or testosterone at one time, your body will see there's too much of it and revert and begin to change that back into the correct hormone you're supposed to have, because you can get it from meats, vegetables, fruits. Different kind of foods can have different kind of hormones in them, being it could be natural hormones or artificial put in from one thing or another. But with that can cause the develop of a child. So the child is growing in the mother, and to one point there can be a change. I don't know what time in the pregnancy, but there's a point where either the baby's body begins to receive testosterone and begins to grow the clitoris into a penis, and the ovaries change somehow. I don't know exactly everything, that change into becoming testicles and then form outside the body. That's why if you ever notice, you guys out there and women out there have noticed, if you look like on your underside, basically where on a female there would be a vagina, there's a seam, because that's where, when you were a child growing in your mother's womb, where your vagina closed up after your testicles grew out, and that's closing up, and that closes up, and then now it seems more female or more male, and it takes away the female hormones and changes the composition of your body. That's how it happens to everyone, not just some people. That's how it always happens. So it also, going back, if you're born a hermaphrodite, that means you have the correct balance of hormones, of male and female hormones, that your vaginal cavity doesn't close up, and you do have, it's kind of odd also, because there are people that are hermaphrodites that have both fully functional male and female genitalia, where they have testicles that are inside the body and also ovaries and everything, so that technically they could make themselves get pregnant. But that's a completely different story I don't want to talk about. But that's how it works, where you can have the right amount of balance of hormones, where you can have both genitalia, or one takes over the other, or if with other people where you can have like twins, and then one twin takes over the other, and there can be an imbalance in hormones and other things like that. Again, deeper into things I don't know about. That's what I've heard. But that's how it works. It's basically everyone starts out as a female, and then with the hormones changing your body, you change into a male. Which is interesting, because that's kind of how it happens for trans men, where you begin to taking hormone replacements of testosterone, and then your clitoris begins to grow into a somewhat workable penis. It not completely works exactly, because it takes years and years for that to work, and usually most people do go in and get surgery, like sexual reassignment surgery, and actually makes somewhat of a realistic penis. But that, mostly with transgender, it's most of the surgeries and whatnot are all cosmetic. They're not fully functional. I've heard that you can actually get like a transplant of like a uterus, but I don't think I've heard much about it being successful, because you have to find the right donor, and it's all a big issue that I have not looked into, because I'm pretty sure that's still like very brand new. So that is, again, something I got to research on. I would love to. With me, I kind of feel sad about not being able to, carry a child or be actually a mother, because most of it with transgenders, it's cosmetic, not fully functional. So it's, saddening, but also, just getting to the point where you feel normal in your own skin. Going back to what I was saying, I know I've been bouncing around a lot. I'm sorry. It's just things have been crazy. Like, my internet crashed on me an hour more ago, and I was going to do testing, and then things just been crazy. But gender is a scale where you can be from, one end to another. You can be in between. You don't have to be directly on one or the other. And that's where transgenders come in, where you could be you can be born a male and be more towards the female, or have more female hormones in your body, and it feels like your body's not right. So then you go through the process of changing that so you feel right. Or vice versa with the born of female, and you have more testosterone in your body or more feelings that you're male, and then you work on changing that gender to make you feel right. I mean, some people out there think that transgender are just like traitors or against, certain things like religion or other stuff like that. Really, it's not that. What it is we're trying to become, basically who we think we're supposed to be. And we're trying to make ourselves feel correct. Because going through life where you think you're not the right gender or something's not adding up, it makes you feel like you've failed or your life has been a waste. And I mean, it's also deal with like depression and all that kind of stuff. It could come from all this. But it's just how things turn out. It's not like we choose this. I mean, some people may choose to become that, but they may have felt that before in their life for years, and they wanted that to change. But it's not like bam, you choose, like, you know what, I'm going to go in, start taking hormones, cut everything off, and change my body. That's not what it's like, because if you just happen to start like that, the doctors wouldn't accept you and wouldn't believe you, because you're just all of a sudden like, oh no, yeah, this has happened now. Because before any doctor will start helping you with transitioning and being a transgender, they have to do like a survey, seeing, what symptoms you have in the past, so what you felt, what seems like it's wrong, because may or may not be just, just an imbalance of what you're thinking, or you may have had a bad time and you just think things are not right. I mean, some people may just act like this for a fetish or something like that. But really, mostly it's because you feel like your body is the wrong gender. So you're trying to fix that. And there have been people out there that I'm pretty sure have done this, where they've lied about it and become the opposite gender just for like a certain reason, because they wanted to be like that, or they wanted to fetish, or so on and so forth. And that's okay to a point, but then it starts becoming backlash, because it gives, real people that are trying to transition to the right gender, a bad name. So it's kind of counterintuitive, where we're trying to do our best and allow people to do what they want, but then we get backlash of people doing that because they've just lied about it or changed it. But I mean, I really believe myself is let you do what you want. You want to change things or remove things from your body, whatever. But as long as you don't hurt the community, because one person can ruin it for everyone else. Just one wrong person going, you know what, I'm going to change this because I feel like it, not that I really need it or there's something wrong, just because I feel like it. And that's where it can ruin stuff. I mean, it's a hard thing to deal with already, being a transgender, but knowing out there's people that have done it just because it was a joke or something fun to do because they were tired of how they were living their life. I mean, unless there's a real reason there, you don't want to start making decisions like this, because it's not like a small little thing that you can revert back. It's something that you have to choose as a lifestyle. I remember thinking about this, it reminded me of the story, where I read this thing, I think either on Tumblr or Reddit, where there was a transgender female that, lived their life mostly as a male, then transitioned into a female. But then, after that, like a good 15-20 years, they felt like they weren't being accepted in their community, that they couldn't find, any dates with anybody, or basically be able to, make friends, or just be, a normal person. So the person then began to think that they should transition back into a male, and started taking hormones. Because they had a full-on, sexual reassignment surgery and everything like that. But it would not work in the reverse. Because yes, with born females, where you begin taking hormones and it starts changing your body, if you're a transgender woman trying to transition back to a male, it won't work that way because the clitoris will not grow. Because what I've seen, I mean, it may be different from other surgeries, but the surgery I've seen and looked into, because it was like a whole thing where it was showed the two different ways of how they basically go through reassignment surgery for male and female, applicants. With the transgender female surgery, they remove testicles and the blood vessels in the penis that make it get an erection and everything, because it becomes a clitoris. And removing that kind of stuff, you couldn't take hormones to make it grow again, because if not, there's not something there to grow. The parts have been removed to make it cosmetically as a female genitalia. So it wouldn't work in the reverse. I don't know if the surgery was different than what I saw, but it seemed odd that the person would go through all transitioning and get to this point in their life and I'm going to go back. And someone said on that post saying that it's probably not you need to transition back, it's just you need to find the right support system. Because you need a support system while you're in transgender throughout your whole entire life. Not just when you're going, starting up with transitioning or going through your transition or you've completely finished, because if you've gone through everything, you still need support because people still don't accept it completely because it's still a new thing. People still think it's a fetish because that's why it's now transgender, not transsexual, because transsexual sounds more like a fetish or a kink, which some people may have that. Some people probably want to get with transgender or transsexual people just because they want to know what it's like and see what's the difference between, normal sex and that kind of sex. It's different. Do what you want, but don't kind of ruin it for the rest of us. That's basically what I have to say. So, I kind of bounced around, and I probably got most out. What I was trying to say is there's two genders, but you can be in between each one. You don't have to be completely one or the other. And also, with, also talking about gender and sexuality, some people think that if you're homosexual or bisexual, that's something you choose. It's not as well. That can tie in to the being, on the gradient scale of, being more male or female, because you may still feel like you're male at heart. You don't have to change anything, but with the hormones being a little bit different, it can make you more attracted to males like you. Or the same with vice versa. You may be completely female, and, you don't have to be, an effeminate man to be, gay or bisexual. Or, a muscly, buff woman to be attracted to women. It's just basically the chemicals in your brain saying what you like. It's not like, oh, I want this thing because it says so or because the society says so. It's what you think in your mind. That's why it's so annoying when people say, sexuality is a choice. It is to a point. It's the choice that you make in your head. And some people may like a certain thing or different people, and that's okay. But then when people try and change a person's mind because they act a different way or is different because they think that's wrong, and then they go in and try to change that, that's not what you should be doing. That's actually hurting more people than you think. Because then, people are taught that what they're doing is wrong in their life, and there's no way out besides basically almost killing themselves or trying to rechange their stuff or live their life sad and alone or upset because they've chose something that's not what they believe. So it's just basically everyone has to get used to everything, how everything has been changing and how things have been going on. It's mostly because everyone, basically it's a human nature to be afraid of change. And when you don't know that change or don't understand it, you basically make up a reason why it's there or why it's happening just to make yourself feel better. Whole reason why religion basically exists. But again, another problem I don't want to talk about because that's going to start a worse, probably comment war about religion and blah, blah, blah. This is probably going to be a crap ton of people talking about how this is gender, that is gender, blah, blah, blah. I'm going to get so much hate probably on this video if I even get people to watch it. But yeah. that's what I had to say. I know it's kind of bouncing around. It'll make more sense probably when I edit it down, but I mean, most of these videos are just crazy rants about stuff. But I've been trying to get more organized and trying to get this better. But that's all I have for you guys tonight. I mean, I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you learned something, or will go out and look into it and see, what's different, what's changing, what you feel, what you see in yourself. But, I mean, I'm just trying to help, get this off my chest. If people want to listen to it, they can. If they don't have to. And if you enjoy it, I mean, it's just what I think. Again, it's not like it's been scientifically proven. That's what I've heard, what I've learned. But, I mean, everyone out there can see things differently and understands things differently. It's just you got to understand it and find out for yourself. Because someone can shove information down your throat all they want, but unless you're willing to understand it and take it in, you're never going to understand, learn it, or care. But, yeah, that's all I got for this video. Before I end it, I want to thank everyone for watching. Because, I mean, it means a lot to me for seeing a bunch of people on these videos. Because I've seen some of my videos like this that have blown up, going up to like 60 or 70 views, which is great. And I thank everyone for watching. And if everyone out there that subscribed to me, I want to thank you all. And who's going to subscribe, I want to thank you as well. I noticed I've jumped up a bit. I've up to 9 subscribers, and I thank you all for that. I mean, it means a lot to me, even though it's such a low number. But more people watching, more people can get into it. More people it'll share to, and so on and so forth. And, I mean, you can comment down below. I'm pretty sure everyone's going to, because this is going to be a really, really bad video for conversations. But, yeah, and last but not least, I want to remind everyone you're not alone out there. There's someone out there that will willing to help you, be there for you. You just got to go out there, find them, accept them, and support them as well as they support you. I'll see you guys later, and just stay strong out there.